the rumor mill started churning, the internet just like completely froze.
Oh, absolutely.
And just like that, reality television had a brand new obsession, a whispered affair between a reality royalty heiress and, well, a squeaky clean Canadian TV host.
Right.
But the truth, it's far more complicated than the headline suggests.
Way more complicated.
Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame. Welcome to Start Scope Report.
So glad you're here with us.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into the headline that is just setting the internet on fire right now. Brooke Hogan denied the affair rumor, but that's not making it go away.
Yeah, that headline is everywhere.
It really is. And we are pulling facts and reporting from a stack of sources today. We've got E! News, TV Insider, Reality Tea, The Daily Mail, and Entertainment Now.
A lot of ground to cover.
Definitely. The mission here is to figure out exactly what happened on the neon-lit set of HGTV's Rock the Block. We're looking at the massive design failure that nearly tore a team apart, and honestly, the deeply traumatic family history that explains exactly why Brooke Hogan is defending her private life with such ferocity.
The collision of those two totally different worlds is what makes this so compelling to me. I mean, you are watching the highly curated, aesthetically pleasing universe of modern renovation.
Right, the whole HGTV vibe.
Exactly, just slamming face first into the unregulated, chaotic machinery of celebrity gossip.
It's wild.
To understand why this rumor exploded the way it did, you really have to look at the architecture of the environment that birthed it, because Rock the Block Season 7 is, it's not your standard home makeover show.
Far from it. I mean, the production took over a massive cul-de-sac in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, the heat alone.
Right. And the core mechanic of this season is essentially like a creative airdrop. For the first time in the franchise's history, the network took established HGTV stars and paired them with celebrities who have a background in design.
Strangers. Literally working with strangers.
Completely. So you take two complete strangers, hand them a staggering $275,000 budget,
Insane.
give them a grueling 7-week timeline, and tell them to renovate identical homes in the blistering Vegas heat.
It is an environment totally engineered to strip away professional polite filters.
Oh, absolutely.
You are forcing two independent creative directors to merge their visions under extreme sleep deprivation and, huge financial stakes.
Every minor disagreement is just huge.
Right. Every tiny argument over cabinet hardware is magnified by the presence of a camera crew just waiting for someone to crack.
Which brings us to our duo at the center of the storm. Brooke Hogan, who actually runs her own interior design business in Nashville, was paired with Scott McGillivray,
The veteran Canadian real estate expert.
Yep. And from the very first episode, their on-screen chemistry was undeniable. They operated with a level of synergy and mutual respect that made them instant fan favorites.
They really did.
They were funny, they were efficient, and, well, they were winning.
But here is the mechanism of reality television that viewers often overlook, and that's the edit.
Oh, the edit is everything.
When an audience sees a man and a woman operating with high-level professional synchronicity, the show's editors know exactly how to frame it.
They totally lean into it.
They use lingering shots. They isolate the audio of a shared laugh.
Yeah.
They cut away to silent, speculative reactions from competitors.
Right, building that narrative.
Exactly. The production builds a visual language that suggests intimacy, even when the reality is just a highly functional business partnership.
And the audience took that bait immediately. I mean, the internet was flooded with speculation that Brooke and Scott had a romantic thing going on behind the scenes.
It blew up on social media.
It reached such a fever pitch that on April 28th, Brooke had to officially step in. She posted a carousel of photos to her Instagram. I actually want to read her exact caption from E! News.
Please do.
She wrote, "People love to speculate." There's been a lot of people commenting on posts of me and Scott suggesting we have a quote-unquote thing going on, and honestly, it's just mean and hateful.
Wow.
But then she executed this brilliant comedic pivot, adding, "But sorry, we're so funny and adorable on camera."
That right there, that is a masterclass in modern public relations.
It really is.
She did not release a sterile, heavily lawyered statement through a publicist. She used what we call the absurdity defense.
The absurdity defense. I like that.
Yeah, she acknowledged the toxicity of the rumor, labeling it mean and hateful, but then instantly defanged it with humor.
The photos she chose for that post are the greatest part of this entire saga. She didn't post professional headshots or anything like that.
No, she went a totally different route.
She posted photos of Scott playfully hanging out with her actual husband, professional hockey player Steven Oleksy. There is a literal photograph of Scott jokingly feeding Steven.
So funny.
Brooke captioned it, "If you're worried about anyone, worry about my hockey player husband stealing his sweet Canadian heart."
It completely disrupts the narrative the tabloids were trying to build.
Mm.
Scott even jumped into the comment section to reinforce the joke.
What did he say?
He wrote, "I never fed Brooke like this. Just Steve."
That is amazing.
To which Steven replied, "And you taught our kids how to walk for everyone keeping score at home."
Oh my gosh.
By shining a stadium-level spotlight on the mundane, wholesome reality of their actual families, they made the people spreading the rumor look totally ridiculous.
The irony here is that if you look at their actual marriages, the rumor falls apart instantly.
It really does.
Scott has been married to his wife Sabrina since June 2008. That is 17 years of highly documented stability. Sabrina is a Catholic school teacher, they have 2 daughters, and they literally spend their time building Habitat for Humanity homes together. He is the blueprint of a devoted family man.
He really is. And Brooke's personal life is equally anchored.
Exactly. She secretly married Steven in June 2022. They kept that marriage hidden from the public until January 2024. Over a year and a half of total silence.
That is so hard to do.
And they just welcomed twins in January 2025.
The secrecy surrounding Brooke's marriage is a critical data point we will definitely need to revisit,
For sure.
because it speaks volumes about her relationship with the public eye.
Well, let me ask you this. Is this just the reality TV curse? Are we as an audience so starved for drama that the second we see a man and a woman operating as an effective platonic team, we instantly project a romantic storyline onto them? Like, why do we struggle to process male-female friendship on screen?
I don't think it is a matter of being starved for drama, honestly. I think it is a conditioned reflex. Yeah, think about the programming ecosystem we are discussing here. HGTV has spent the better part of a decade building its biggest franchises around married couples whose actual relationships were the drama.
Oh, like Slip or Flop?
Exactly. Shows like Flip or Flop with Christina and Tarek El Moussa trained the viewer to look for marital friction in the drywall. The network built that muscle memory for the audience.
That is such a good point.
So when viewers see charisma between Brooke and Scott, their brains automatically categorize it using the blueprint they were taught, which is romantic tension.
That makes total sense. We are watching a high-stakes group project, but the audience is processing it like a soap opera.
Precisely.
But if you think that's the only drama Brooke is dealing with on set, just wait till you hear what came next. It involves a massive design disaster and a really tense text exchange.
Oh yeah, things got heated.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
You won't want to miss it.
So that intense audience scrutiny doesn't just invent romances. It magnifies every single mistake you make on camera. Which brings us to the immense pressure of episode 2.
Because when you're already fighting off internet rumors, a massive design failure becomes a PR nightmare.
Let's talk about the blue light blunder.
This is where the game theory of Rock the Block really comes into play. The competitive architecture of this show forces teams into pretty intense strategic dilemmas.
Right, because Brooke and Scott dominated the first week. They won the bedroom and bathroom challenge in episode 1.
They started so strong.
And winning on this show presents you with a choice. You can either take a $3,000 cash bonus to put toward your next room design, or you can add a permanent $1,000 bump to your home's final appraisal value.
And Brooke and Scott chose the $3,000 cash.
If we break down the mechanics of that choice, it is a massive gamble.
Huge gamble. In the real estate metagame of Rank the Block, the final winner is determined entirely by the highest appraisal value. Adding $1,000 to your appraisal is hard, guaranteed data on the final scoreboard. But taking $3,000 in cash is a volatile asset.
Because you have to build something with it.
Exactly. It requires you to build a feature that you hope will translate to a much higher perceived value from the judges. They took the risk.
They took the cash and rolled it directly into episode 2, using it to build an elaborate floor-to-ceiling wine wall in the main living space.
It was definitely a statement piece.
Scott was feeling incredibly confident. He even stated in his confessional that they had, quote-unquote, proof of concept that their strategy was working and they were there to win.
But, confidence in a specific aesthetic doesn't guarantee universal praise,
Definitely not.
especially when you introduce a highly polarizing lighting element.
Enter guest judge Michelle Smith-Boyd, a two-time Rock the Block winger himself.
He knows what he's looking for.
He tours the house and loves the underlying modern hacienda vibe. He praises the ceiling beams, the fireplace, and the layout. But then he stops dead in his tracks, looks at the wine wall, and asks them, point blank, "Why did you put that blue light in that wine bar?"
Ouch. This is the exact moment the United Front shatters.
Brooke instantly turns on Scott. Right there on camera, she points at him and shouts, "I told you not to make it blue."
Throwing him right under the bus.
Scott attempts to defend the technical specs, claiming, "It's not blue, that's the white, it's glue."
Which is such a funny defense.
But Brooke is not having it. She pivots back to the judge and says, "It is horrendous. I agree with you."
Wow.
They ultimately lost the episode to Kim Wolf and Chelsea Meisner.
From a brand preservation standpoint, Brooke's reaction is a completely necessary maneuver.
You think so?
Oh, definitely. When your actual livelihood is running an interior design firm in Nashville, you cannot allow a nationally televised aesthetic failure to be attached to your portfolio.
That makes sense.
She had to explicitly distance herself from the blue lighting to protect her professional credibility outside the show.
Well, she didn't just distance herself on camera. She took the conflict straight to the public.
She really did.
Following the episode's airing, Brooke posted screenshots of her private text messages with Scott directly to her Instagram story.
The receipts.
She texted him a photo of the wine rack and wrote, "Your blue wine rack lights made us lose. They look like blank. They're peeling off everywhere," and you put syrup in there.
The syrup detail is so funny to me.
She explicitly told him, "Lol, it's all your fault," and joked that the house looked great until he made it look like a smoke shop.
A smoke shop. This is a fascinating evolution in how reality stars manage their narratives, though.
How so?
10 years ago, a conflict like that would be spun by network publicists in a magazine interview. Today, reality stars weaponize their own group chats.
That is so true.
By posting the raw, unfiltered text messages, Brooke proves to the audience that the banter and the frustration are genuine. It breaks the fourth wall and invites the viewer into the authentic mechanics of their partnership.
And Scott's response to those texts shows exactly why their partnership survived. He simply replied, "I'll take credit for the wins and the losses."
A very measured response.
Think about the last time you were forced into a high-stakes group project at work with someone whose creative vision totally clashed with yours. Now add the Las Vegas heat, a camera crew dissecting your every eye roll, and a neon blue wine wall you explicitly voted against.
It's a recipe for disaster.
The frustration is universally relatable.
It really is. A fan actually commented on Instagram, noting that Scott seemed hesitant to be partnered with her initially.
Oh, what did Brooke say to that?
Brooke replied, "Correct. Oh, I think I won him over eventually." The true metric of a successful collaborative team is not the absence of conflict, it is the speed of the recovery.
And they recovered brilliantly. They channeled the sting of that episode 2 loss, compartmentalized the friction, and came back swinging in episode 3.
They absolutely killed it in the kitchen.
They renovated the kitchen and dining space and took the win, becoming the first team of season 7 to secure 2 victories.
It's an incredible comeback.
They proved they could handle the mechanical pressure of the show. But the speed and aggression with which Brooke shuts down these internet rumors points to a much deeper psychological pressure.
Yes, it really does.
The kind of pressure that stems from a deeply tragic family history. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming regarding Brooke's family and why the internet's obsession with her personal life is hitting such a raw nerve.
It is a really intense backstory.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next on Starscope.
To understand why Brooke utilizes Instagram and text screenshots to aggressively control her public image today, we really have to examine the environment where her public image was originally forged.
The story shifts dramatically here. Brooke did not enter the public eye as an adult interior designer. She was thrust into it during the mid-2000s MTV era as a teenager.
Such a different time for reality TV.
She was the breakout star of Hogan Knows Best, the reality show centered around her father, wrestling icon Hulk Hogan. She essentially grew up with a camera crew living in her house.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. She eventually spun off into her own show, Brooke Knows Best.
The mechanics of early 2000s reality television, were fundamentally different than the highly curated HGTV shows we see today.
Totally different vibe.
Shows like Rock the Block are built around a specific skill,
Hmm.
design and renovation. But the MTV era of reality TV was a panopticon.
A panopticon. I like that word for it.
It was designed to strip away privacy for the sake of spectacle. There were no boundaries. For a teenager, growing up in that unregulated environment fundamentally alters how you process public attention.
Especially when that public attention is tied to massive, humiliating controversies. The sources report the sequence of events that shattered the Hogan family, and they are grim. Hulk Hogan was involved in a highly publicized, leaked sex tape.
It was everywhere.
Subsequently, there was a leaked audio recording featuring a racist rant from Hulk, specifically directed at Brooke's ex-boyfriend. Brooke recently addressed this, calling the audio leak the quote-unquote most embarrassing thing in the world.
Just put yourself in the psychological position of having your family's darkest, most shameful, and legally complex moments broadcast globally.
I can't even imagine.
You bear the collateral damage of a parent's unregulated actions. You're scrutinized not for your own work, but for the chaos surrounding your last name.
And that chaos culminated in a total, permanent fracturing of the family. Hulk Hogan passed away last year at the age of 71 from cardiac arrest.
Oh.
But the shocking reality is that at the time of his death, he and Brooke were completely estranged. According to the reporting, Hulk left an estate valued at over $5 million, and Brooke was entirely excluded from the will.
The actions Brooke took following his passing illustrate the absolute severity of that estrangement.
She didn't just quietly accept the exclusion, she demanded an autopsy on his body.
Which is a huge step.
And when the family held a massive funeral at the Indian Rocks Baptist Church, Brooke refused to attend. She opted to hold her own entirely private memorial instead.
From a legal and psychological standpoint, demanding an autopsy when you have been cut out of a will is a profound mechanism of asserting control.
Right, because you're totally left in the dark otherwise.
Exactly. When an estranged family member is excluded from the narrative of a parent's final days, the legal right to request medical transparency is often the only tool left to find the truth.
And what about the separate memorial?
Choosing to hold a separate private memorial is the ultimate public severing of the family unit. She drew a hard, permanent boundary.
Now contrast Brooke's chaotic, intensely public foundation with the life of her co-star, Scott McGillivray.
It is night and day.
Scott's narrative is unwavering stability. Nearly 2 decades of marriage, building homes for the less fortunate, taking his daughters out for Valentine's Day dinners to teach them how they should be treated. It is the definition of wholesome consistency.
The dichotomy between their lived experiences is just staggering. Scott has only ever known fame as a byproduct of his professional expertise.
Right.
Brooke knows fame as an invasive force that dismantles families.
Which brings us back to the rumor. Look at Brooke's life right now. She moved out of the Hollywood machine to Nashville.
Seeking peace.
Exactly. She kept her wedding to Steven Oleksy a total secret for over a year and a half. She had her twins privately. Her swift, aggressive shutdown of these affair rumors isn't just a PR move.
No, it's not.
It's a trauma response. When you spend your entire childhood living in a media panopticon surrounded by scandal, you build an impenetrable fortress the second you achieve your own peace.
Exactly. She experienced firsthand how quickly a rumor can metastasize and destroy a life. She knows that the media consumes controversy without any regard for the human beings involved.
They just chew it up.
Right. So when the earliest whispers of an affair began circulating online, her conditioned survival reflex kicked in. She didn't wait for a publicist to draft a statement. She aggressively dismantled the narrative herself.
She drew the boundary and defended her fortress. And it forces us to look at the broader implications of how celebrity culture operates today.
It reveals a profound shift in the balance of power between the media and the subject. We live in an influencer culture that demands total access.
Total access all the time.
But individuals like Brooke Hogan are proving that the traditional machinery of celebrity gossip is becoming obsolete.
That is the truly lingering question here. Think about what Brooke accomplished with a single Instagram post. She didn't need a tabloid magazine to clear her name.
No.
She didn't need to grant an exclusive interview to a daytime talk show. She used screenshots of her own text messages and photos of her husband eating off a fork to completely kill a viral story.
So smart.
In an era where reality stars can weaponize their own group chats and camera rolls to control their narrative, Have traditional gossip magazines lost their power entirely?
It's a great question.
If the stars are their own paparazzi and their own publicists, the media no longer controls the narrative the subject does.
It is a brilliant democratization of public relations, built out of necessity by someone who's survived the worst of the old system.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.